So from day one, we designed Dosy to be scalable, but the reality on the ground, we required constant adaptation. Like cultural change doesn't scale like code. Trust doesn't scale like infrastructure. Every city, every neighborhood had unique dynamics, fears, and norms. So we built flexible systems and processes that could adapt while still maintaining a consistency in safety and service quality. Eventually, once we mastered scaling trust alongside technology, growth became more organic and sustainable. My name is Nouran Farouk. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Dosy.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve
Most
more.
proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was
Yes, we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time. The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took it
you.
off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it.
It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story. I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today on Nouran Farouk has built the best tech-based writing platform for Egyptian women to take the risk and ride. This episode is sponsored by Mesmo. If your team is collecting large volumes of logs, metrics, and traces, but still struggling to get timely answers, Mesmo can help. Mesmo is an active telemetry platform that processes and enriches observability data in real time before it's stored or analyzed. That means lower data volume, lower cost, and faster root cause analysis across your existing observability tools. To see how it works, get a demo at mesmo.com/codestory. That's MEZMO.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by BrainGrid. If you are building with AI coding tools, but your features keep breaking, you need to check out BrainGrid. It is the product management agent for AI builders. BrainGrid turns messy ideas into clear specs, tasks, and prompts that coding agents like Cursor and Claude can actually build the right way. Ship real software, not fragile prototypes. Start free at braingrid.ai. Nouran Farouk grew up in Egypt, which she notes the culture has a deep root in family. She and her sister have always been drawn to social entrepreneurship, being drawn to building, but also positively impacting the world. In addition, Nouran has a medical background, which taught her that good intentions are not enough. You need good systems. Outside of tech, she loves to travel and visit cities. She frequently observes how people move throughout the world and how systems influence their daily life. Nouran and her sister wanted to learn to drive scooters. In doing so, they were immediately greeted with inequitable opportunities for women in this arena. They wanted to change this situation and deployed a back of the napkin idea into a fully operational platform. This is the creation story of Dosy.
Dosy in Arabic means take the risk and ride. Dosy is the first women-only scooter ride-hailing platform in Egypt. We also offer other services such as training. We train women on how to ride the scooters and bicycles. We also offer them job opportunities in the micromobility sector as instructors or delivery riders, as well as offering them other services like maintenance, self-defense, and e-commerce service. Dosy started with a very personal frustration. My sister and I wanted to learn how to drive scooter in Cairo, but the process was unsafe and almost impossible to navigate. It made me realize that this wasn't just a personal inconvenience, it was a structural problem. Women in Egypt and much of the MENA region face cultural, safe, and accessibility barriers that limit their mobility. So we built Dosy to solve that problem. At its core, Dosy is a tech-based mobility platform designed specifically for women. We connect women with verified female instructors for scooters and bicycles, training, and provide also flexible scheduling and location options. and eventually evolved into a broader mobility ecosystem. As we grow, we realized that the problem wasn't just about learning how to ride, it was about safe, independent transportation. That insight led us to expand Dosy into what is now the first female-only scooter ride-hailing service. It's a platform designed from the ground up for women's safety, trust, and inconvenience, and not just a copy of traditional ride-hailing services. So what started as a very personal or napkin on the back of the table idea has turned into a platform that is empowering thousands of women, creating economic opportunities, and redefining how women move in cities where mobility has never been neutral.
Let's dive into what you would consider the MVP of Dosy. That first version of the platform that you built. How long did it take to build, and what sort of tools were you using to bring it to life?
So the MVP was very simple, but every decision was mission-driven. So we didn't aim to build a flashy product. Our goal was to prove that women would use a platform like this and trust it. The first version of Dosy allowed women to book training sessions online, match with verified female instructors, and choose their own location and schedule. But that alone removed most of the fear and friction that prevented women from learning to ride. It took a few months to launch, and a lot of the process behind the scenes was manual. For example, instructor matching was initially handled personally to ensure quality and safety. We used lightweight web technologies and avoided over-engineering. The MVP taught us that a crucial lesson: if you prioritize trust and usability first, adoption follows naturally.
Tell me about a decision you had to make in building that first MVP. And I hear a few in what you've already said, but maybe a decision or trade-off you had to make, a really core central one, in how you worked through it and how you coped with it.
So we faced many difficult trade-offs early on. One was the speed versus safety. We could have launched faster, expanded aggressively, and automated certain processes immediately. But doing so would have compromised the trust we were building. In our context, trust is not just the feature, it's the foundation. Another trade-off was delaying monetization. Early on, we prioritized building confidence, reality, and a positive user experience over revenue. That decision slowed cash flow in the short term, but it created a community of users and instructors who were deeply committed to our mission, which ultimately made scaling easier. We coped with these trade-offs by constantly revisiting our core question: does this make women safer and more confident? If the answer was yes, we proceeded. If not, we paused, listened, and iterated.
Today's episode is brought to you by .tech domains, and this one hits close to home. Back in 2016, when I was building my own tech startup, I went on the hunt for that elusive .com. Looked high, looked low, and guess what I found? Nothing. What I did find cost me an arm and a leg. So I did what every founder does under pressure. Threw in extra letters, settled for the less than optimal name. And here's what I wish someone had said to me back then. Noah, you're building a tech startup. Just get a .tech domain. Tech startup, .tech domain. It could not be more obvious. It tells investors, customers, and anyone who looks at your website, really, that tech is at the core of your build. And I've kicked myself plenty since, especially when I see the clean and sharp names tech companies have landed on .tech. Nothing.tech, 1x.tech, Aurora.tech, CES.tech, Ultra.tech, Alice.tech, Neon.tech, Blaze.tech, Pi.tech. You get the idea. So take it from someone who learned it the hard way. If you're building a tech startup, don't overthink it. Secure your .tech domain today from any registrar of your choice. This episode is sponsored by BrainGrid. Building with AI coding tools is exciting until the moment things start breaking. You ask for a small change and suddenly 3 other features stop working. AI gets confused, misses edge cases, and loses track of your intent. The problem is not code generation. The problem is planning. That is why BrainGrid exists. BrainGrid acts as your product management agent. It writes clear specification, maps UX flows, asks the clarifying questions you forgot to ask, and breaks big ideas into engineering-grade tasks that AI coding tools can build reliably. It guides Cursor, Claude Code, Replit, Windsurf, and others so they deliver features that work and keep working. Founders use BrainGrid to build real AI-native SaaS products without a technical background. If you want reliable features instead of fragile prototypes, try BrainGrid for free at braingrid.ai. That's braingrid.ai. So then you've got the MVP, it's working, you've made the trade-offs and you're moving forward, getting some traction that you want. How did you progress and mature the product from that point? And I think to wrap that in a box a little bit, what I'm looking for is how you built your roadmap, how you went about deciding that, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address with Dosy.
So Dosy matured by listening obsessively to our users. After women trusted us for training, they began asking for additional services like maintenance, support, self-defense training, access to scooters, and even job opportunities as instructors or couriers. These requests became the roadmap for the next phase. We formed partnerships with EV companies for scooter access, with maintenance providers to ensure reliability, and with logistics services to support our delivery initiative. Every addition to the product is grounded in real user needs, not trends. And today, Dosy is not just a platform for learning to ride, it's a women's mobility ecosystem, creating safe, sustainable, and economically empowering solutions at scale.
How did you build your team? What'd you look for in those people to indicate that they were the winning horses to join you?
So building the team was as intentional as building the product. We didn't just hire for skills. We hired for alignment with our mission and values. Every person we brought in needed to understand that we weren't just building software. We were building trust, independence, and community. Our instructors are more than trainers. They are role models, mentors, and advocates for women's mobility. Many have become community leaders, spreading awareness and recruiting new users. And internally, we look for adaptability, resilience, and ownership. Startups are unpredictable and culture change is slow. You need people who are passionate about the mission and flexible enough to solve problems creatively.
This episode is sponsored by Unblocked. Your coding agents have access to your code base. Maybe you even connected other tools via MCPs. But access doesn't mean context. Agents can't reason across MCPs. They don't know your architectural decisions, your team's patterns, or why the API was shaped the way it is. So agents look in the wrong place and deliver bad outputs. Then you spend time correcting. More loops, more tokens. Unblocked is the context layer your agents are missing. It synthesizes your PRs, docs, Slack, and tickets into organizational context that agents actually understand. So they make better plans, write higher quality code, use fewer tokens, and require fewer correction loops. If you're running Claude Code, Cursor, or any agentic workflow, Unblocked is worth a look. Learn more at getunblocked.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Mesmo. If you're responsible for reliability, performance, or platform architecture, you already know the problem. Telemetry volume is growing faster than teams can manage it. Mesmo addresses this by moving observability upstream. Instead of storing everything and asking questions later, Mesmo processes telemetry in motion, filtering, transforming, and enriching logs, metrics, and traces before they reach your observability backend. The result is cleaner data, reduced ingestion costs, and faster root cause analysis using the tools you already rely on. Mesmo integrates with platforms like Datadog, Dynatrace, and open source stacks, giving teams more control without adding operational overhead. This is especially useful for platform engineers and SREs supporting complex distributed systems where context and speed matter. To see how active telemetry works in practice, get a demo at mesmo.com/codestory. That's MEZMO.com/codestory. Okay, I'm curious about scalability. And this could come into play, in how you operate Dosy, but also could come into play with the technology where it applies. I'm curious how you approach both. Both are applicable to the question. And, have there been interesting areas where you've had to fight scalability as you've grown?
So from day one, we designed Dosy to be scalable, but the reality on the ground, we required constant adaptation. Like cultural change doesn't scale like code. Trust doesn't scale like infrastructure. Every city, every neighborhood had unique dynamics, fears, and norms. So we built flexible systems and processes that could adapt while still maintaining a consistency in safety and service quality. Eventually, once we mastered scaling trust alongside technology, growth became more organic and sustainable.
So, as you step out on the balcony, you look across all that you've built thus far with Dosy. What are you most proud of?
So I'm most proud of the real-life transformations, seeing women go to work alone for the first time and instructors achieving financial independence, or simply witnessing a woman confidently ride a scooter on Cairo streets. And these moments are unforgettable for me. I'm also proud of building a culture where mistakes are accepted, learning is praised, and mission comes first. These intangible wins, empowerment, independence, and trust, are the reason we do this work.
Let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and the team responded to it.
Actually, I've made a lot of mistakes. Early on, when we started, we assumed education alone would be enough to drive adoption. And we underestimated the emotional and psychological barriers women face, like fear, social pressure, and safety concerns. So that mistake forced us to rethink the experience, adding layers of reassurance, community support, and trust building. And the team responded with humanity and creativity. And that moment actually strengthened our culture and our product. It reminded us that mission and empathy must always drive decisions.
Let's move forward then. What does the future look like for Dosy, for the product, for your team, for all the things that you are impacting?
I believe that the future is regional and transformative. We are expanding across MENA region and Africa, launching our female-only ride-hailing platform across many countries, and creating mobility-based job opportunities for up to 1 million women across Africa. And long-term also, Dosy aims to redefine urban mobility to be cleaner, safer, and inclusive, and also empowering women economically. We want cities where women can move freely without fear, and where mobility itself becomes a platform for social change. For expansion of the team, we actually recruiting all the time. We are looking for instructors because they are the main part of the team. And actually, when we are thinking about expansion to other countries, we're also looking forward for companies that are in the same mission as Dosy. So we can work on recruiting female instructors in those countries that we are planning to expand to. So these are the main plans for expansion of Dosy across many cities or across other countries, especially in the MENA region, where women are facing the same problems, the same cultural norms, and also in African countries.
Let's switch to you, Nouran. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
I don't have a person in mind that influences my work, but I am inspired more by founders who combine patience, ethics, and execution, and those also who can scale reasonably without compromising values. I'm also inspired by women who quietly break barriers every day, often without recognition, and they remind me that why this work matters and also push me to keep innovating thoughtfully.
Nouran, last question. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
So my advice to any young entrepreneur is to start with a real problem that you deeply understand and don't wait for permission. Also build something small, test it fast, and let your users guide you. Choose your team carefully because skills are important, but shared mission and values are critical. And embrace mistakes. They are your fastest path to learning. And most importantly, don't compromise on your mission or your users' trust. Everything else flows from that.
Well, that's fantastic advice. Well, Nouran, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for telling the creation story of Dosy.
Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you so much for having me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.